Willow Smith is now asking, where are all the good men? Why don't men ask women out on dates anymore? And I think the answer to her question could literally be in her family. Will Smith was always the good guy. He was the theater guy that eventually built up a career for himself, got some clout, made some music, did acting. Very popular guy. He was always the good guy. He's the type of guy that will ask women out on dates. But who does her mom, Jada Smith, fiend for? She fiends for Tupac, a guy who calls himself a thug. So maybe the fact that good guys aren't asking you out has something to do with the type of guys that women tend to prefer. But let's go ahead and get right to the video.
The older I get, the more I realize that an ascetic lifestyle, aside from being one of the most potent ways to devote your life to honoring the holy mystery, it really just is logical. Like, participate in this tomfoolery? I think not. Am I just delusional, or people asking other people out on dates is kind of like old school? Like, the last time, I don't even remember the last time someone was like, hey, would you want to go on a date with me? Like,
yeah, well, that's because that's traditional, and women have made it abundantly clear that they don't like tradition. They don't want things to be traditional. They want things to be modern. And so women have kind of complained for the past 60 years and told guys to leave them alone. And the funniest part about this to me is once you do that, the only guys that are going to listen are the good guys. The guys who are a little bit socially awkward, that can't read the room, they still gonna approach you. The guys that are womenizers, they still gonna approach you because shoot or shoot. So when you made that rule, you really just eliminated all the good guys.
I'm gonna start saying it again. Okay, yeah, people still hang out in a romantic way, obviously, but like, to explicitly ask someone out on a date and use those specific words, especially someone that you don't really know that well, like, that's like a different kind of thing. Like, would you want to go out on a date with me? Like, when was the last time someone asked you that?
Yeah, but here's the problem, and I assume that Willow Smith has had some relationships in her life. If you're the type of woman that was willing to deal with a man, probably even sleep with a man without him even having to ask you out on a date, then you're contributing to the exact problem that you're complaining about. If every woman in the world said we require men to ask us out on dates before we will sleep with them, men would do it. So women are the ones that oftentimes sets the standards for male behavior. Men just do what works. So if guys are not asking women out on dates, they're relying on dating websites because they're significantly easier to message women. They're relying on things like Instagram because it's easier to deal with rejection through a text message than it is in person. If women are the ones that are going for that type of behavior, then men are just going to do what works. And if that's what works, then that's what men are going to do. And so I don't know Willow's whole situation, but if a guy is able to sleep with women without having to do anything, why should other men behind him play second fiddle and be willing to give the woman the world when she didn't require that same thing for the man that came before him? The problem is women set rules for men that they don't like, and they break rules for men that they like. And because of social media, men know this now. So men know that if I have to go out of my way to court you and go through the whole humiliation ritual just to get to know you, there's a guy that didn't have to do all that. So why do I have to do all that if you actually like me? Then you probably don't actually like me. So there's a lot of reasons why guys don't want to court anymore, but to sum it all up, a lot of them just feel like the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Even if you do all the stuff that you're supposed to do as a man, you might get a woman who finally wants to start valuing family, but she's closer to 30. She might be overweight or obese because she's been working hard, and because you work and you don't want to cook, now you eating fast food. And because she probably wasn't listening to her parents and allowed herself to be sexually used by a bunch of different dudes, she resents men and her standards are higher. And she might even already have kids by a different dude. And so yeah, instead of doing all that for a woman who might be actively having sex with another man, men are just choosing the easier route. That's DMing women. After this whole rant, there were a bunch of people on TikTok that were giving their take, so let's go ahead and get right into it.
Willow Smith said men don't approach women anymore. Didn't you just spend years complaining about men doing exactly that? Lady, pick what you want. You can't have attention and peace at the same time. Now it's all side eyes, soft launches, and zero game on both sides.
Right.
So Willow Smith came out and said guys don't approach women like they used to, claiming that men asking women out in person is almost non-existent today. She called it old school, right? And here's the thing. It is old school.
Yeah.
This is the one thing that I don't like about girls. Y'all be having amnesia. I refuse to be gaslit because women made such a big deal about men approaching them and would label them as creeps, and y'all will say how much you hate us. The reason why it feels...
It's because they didn't have a respect for the game. There used to be a mutual respect for the game. Women would understand how hard it is for a man to walk up to a woman and start a random conversation. So they weren't as disrespectful when they rejected men. Once women started to complain about it more, for some reason, they started to think that it was okay to be disrespectful to a man, especially a man approaching them respectfully. And then you mix that with some women that are just doing it for an ego boost. They just want to get attention and reject guys, it's sometimes even brutally, just to make their egos feel good. Yeah, it's a bad environment for a man that wants to put himself out there like that.
Old schools, because back then, the worst that she could say is no.
Right.
Now, if you walk up and she doesn't feel the vibe, you're going to get blasted all over social media. You may be recorded without your consent. There might be a TikTok story time about you.
Right.
Or you might just get clowned in a group chat. And back then, things were so much more simple. You could take a girl out on a coffee date. You could go for a walk in the park. Y'all could link during both of y'all's lunch break. Y'all were just happy to be around each other's presence. Just go on this app and look up the words coffee date. It's gonna prove my point. On a first date, I don't even know who you are. You want me to take you out somewhere crazy.
Exactly.
In this economy, yeah, right.
But that's because dating used to be about getting to know the person, not just using the person for what you could get out of them. Now it's much more about how much can a person give to you or how much can a man do for you.
How you gonna say you want one thing and then we listen to what y'all say and then y'all get mad and then want us to do the thing that we were doing in the first place that y'all were judging us for? Make it make sense. How about you ask us on a date? Oh, let me guess. That's sassy, huh?
Yep.
Other than that, though, let me know your thoughts. I'm curious.
So Willow Smith says she does not see guys approach women like she used to. She doesn't see guys approach women and ask them out or ask for their numbers. Now, shooters are always going to shoot, but for the most part on social media, women have made it a point to say they do not want guys approaching them. Now, there are some outliers, but for the majority, what I see is that women say, hey, if I don't know you, do not approach me. Or there's just not places to approach people anymore. You know what I'm saying? You can't talk to women at this place or that place. So men, we like, yeah, if I can't talk to you here, there, or anywhere, I'm just going to go about my business. Now, is this a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's worse. That's I think it's a downfall of society, because ask your grandparents where they met. They might have met at a gas station. Like, they might have met at like a car hop.
Well, one of the places where people used to meet was workplace. Now that women are in the workforce, and because you're working so hard, you have less time to be social, a good place to meet would be the workplace. But the Me Too movement has absolutely devastated the ability for two people to meet each other in the workplace. And maybe some of it was necessary. I'm not a woman, so I don't know what it is to be in the workforce with a bunch of men who are just drooling over you all day when you're trying to do work. So I'm not saying that it was all unnecessary. I'm just saying that one of the consequences of something that may have been necessary is that less people are going to find a way to meet each other. Because once you hit over the age of 25 and you got bills and responsibilities, sometimes it's hard to be social. It's definitely expensive to be social. And so, yeah, outside of meeting during school or meeting in the church, one of the best places was work, and that's been completely destroyed by the Me Too movement.
Or like some little like small place, you know what I'm saying, where nowadays we be like, yeah, don't talk to me here. That is where like a majority of people met. Nowadays, if you ain't meeting on social media, you meeting through work, it's like an arranged thing to where it's not organic anymore, and you have to have some sort of like connection outside of this to even meet somebody. So I mean, if you want guys to holler at you, then just tell us to.
For the most part, men are the same, and we want to continue to do the same things when it comes to traditionalism, but women have become modernized and they want things to be different. Unfortunately, what you want comes with consequences. And so if women don't want to be approached anymore because they don't want to be bothered by men, well, then men are gonna stop approaching. And so now you're just left with womenizers and socially awkward dudes. And trust me, everybody's feeling the consequences of the social experiment called feminism, even the celebrities. Let me know in the comments below if this video was a W or L, and give me an HBO special. That's out, brother. Especially hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.